This is James Knight here, and I have a special guest. But before we get into and announce our special guest, a lot of people are wondering, can I actually make money in a different platform? Kristie, what do you think about Fiverr? I mean, I've actually done very well myself, and I know you heard a lot about it too.
Yeah, I've used Fiverr so many times for so many different things. In fact, you know, I just got a gig last week, you know, and got a beautiful logo made on Fiverr. I love Fiverr. I'm a big fan, and I think what is so cool and what our guest is going to tell us is that you can make at least a side income on Fiverr, if not more, because you can scale it up. And he's going to explain to you, you know, how you can take a small gig and make a substantial amount of money each month doing this in a small amount of time. So I love Fiverr. And I want to introduce John Shea from Massachusetts. Hi, John.
How's it going?
Hey, John. How's it going? You know what? I know a lot of people that did Fiverr, and I knew there was an article out there. And when I did a course a long time ago for it, I saw where that there was quite a bit of average people. There's like level 1 sellers. They're making on an average of $30,000 or $40,000 or more. Have you heard of that?
I have. I mean, I think I saw something actually in a newsletter that a guy was able to pay off his college tuition just from Fiverr gigs.
That is so cool. So, John, tell us about your method and how you got started on Fiverr and you know, your experience. We'd love to hear it.
Sure. So I know, I guess for me, you know, I signed up on Fiverr a couple of years ago, and obviously I looked around, and you know, there's lots of different gigs. It kind of felt like that everybody was doing, you know, everything that there possibly could be. That's, you know, you might want to jump into something like, well, maybe I could try creating logos, but everybody's already doing that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And never really got anywhere. I didn't really come up with any gigs that seemed to really be getting any traction. And about a year ago March, I started my own interview show, which was podcast based, you know, and video based as well. I do the hangouts like you guys, and you know, I've been doing interviews through podcasting, and I figured why not add written interviews to that. And I happened to be one day kind of browsing around Fiverr, and I saw that someone had a gig that I knew was taking off because you can see the reviews. You know, if they're getting 150 plus reviews, that means they've made some money with it. You know, a lot of positive feedback. And basically, the gig was they created a interview gig where they would just interview people on a very simple blogspot blog, you know, a free blog. And I said, well, I already have a marketing blog. Why don't I just set up something similar? You know, throw up a video, really optimize the page, and you know, see if I can get some people to buy from me. And I ended up doing that, and I think within 30 days, Fiverr showed that I had well over 60,000 impressions on my gig.
Whoa!
And beyond that, I started seeing a lot of people coming to me. You know, I was worried at first that I was going to get kind of like garbage, like people that might be trying to share stories that I just don't want to share. I'd say probably 90% of the time, the gigs that I get are, you know, the people ordering this kind of gig are you know, they're really quality. Like, they have great stories to share because they're having success, and that was what I was going for, and I enjoy sharing that. So with this gig, I guess really to kind of sum it up, it is very simple. I pretty much just ask people 5 questions. I usually come up with 3 questions on my own, and the first question, I'll ask them to share a story and a little bit of background about what it is that they're doing. I'll ask them to kind of give me a little bio so I can come up with some questions. You know, like, what's their website? I'll maybe take a look at it for a few minutes. You know, if they're doing e-commerce, it's really easy. I can just come up with questions like, why did you get started in this line of work? You know, what's working for you in terms of promotion? You know, and everybody's got a different answer. You know, and then I'll pretty much, at that point, I'm getting free content for my blog. I've had people. I think I had a guy last week. I swear to God, he wrote a 2,000-word response. And that's like an epic article, you know what I mean? Like, that takes time to create something like that. So overall, I think I'm up to something like 35 to 40 orders, and I've only had the gig out there for several months. It could easily be scaled over and over again because right now I'm really only focusing on marketing. I could go and create the same kind of gig in maybe like the music industry and start interviewing artists or something like that. And then you could easily do this by creating free blogs. And in my product, I kind of show people like how to maybe get started. Maybe getting some extra reviews on your gig and different things to kind of start the initial traction to really get going with Fiverr.
Okay, so John, people may not know, they've not done Fiverr. How do you get paid?
Sure. So Fiverr is really easy. They take $1. Everything on Fiverr is $5. So if you're not familiar with that, that's the base of it. But in terms of getting paid, they use either PayPal or I think they now even integrate with Bitcoin, if I'm not mistaken. And they may also be integrated. I haven't used it, but there's another system called Dwala, which is newer, and I think it's like a PayPal equivalent. So you can use either of those. Any gig that you do, Fiverr takes $1 of the cut, and you'll get another $4 yourself, and it adds up pretty quickly. If you're completing gigs one after another.
Right. And so, how would you scale it up? Number one, and number two, we were talking about how you're like at a higher level, where people are seeing you, very visible gig, and ordering your gig. So can you answer that?
Sure. So I guess that's kind of a two-part question. I guess in terms of scaling the gig, I haven't particularly, I've got other projects and things, so I haven't gone like crazy with it, but I could see a lot of potential in scaling this by basically, like I said earlier, you could find different niches to focus on. Like there's going to be people you could interview in all kinds of different industries. You could focus on people who are doing music, or I think there was a gig on there. I saw somebody doing this already with like an environmental type of blog, like a Go Green blog. You could find people that are interested in something like that, and it's really like niche focused. So if you were to go out there and create all kinds of free blogs, or maybe you happen to have resources to create your own WordPress blog, with a legitimate domain, you could then go out and start creating all these interview blogs and pretty much just taking off with this thing. For me, it's actually been, I've kind of just been doing on the side to make a little extra money, maybe pay for some of the simple services that I'm doing every month, like my email autoresponder or something like that.
Okay, and you were saying that, now how would somebody scale that up from making $5 to $25, $35, $100, $200? How would you scale that?
I think the bigger thing would be, what I've found is I've sort of utilized like upsells, like once you hit level 1 seller, you could, which is earned by making more sales, you could add things like increasing the amount of time that you're going to be able to deliver the gig. So you might be able to make an extra $5 to $10 for each time somebody buys, which you'll be surprised somebody, right now my gig is only 7 days, and I've had people that want it within 3 days, so that's like an easy upsell, and I've had, I think, maybe 4 or 5 people buy that. So it's an easy way to make an extra like $5 on each gig because they want the interview out there fast. You might even be able to, something I haven't done a lot with, but I think a lot of people find value in is you're giving them a backlink when you create your interview. So you might be able to turn that into maybe some sort of like additional gigs, like where you're going to offer these links through interviews. And focus on that. So that would be some of the tips. Another thing I do, it's a whole other avenue, would maybe be to, if you were interested in the interviews more and doing audio video, you could offer like a podcast. I had a guy pay $20 additional for this one gig, and he agreed to actually let me post it like a couple months from now at the time we did it. And he was actually very smart and knowledgeable. Like we talked about local SEO. And that was something I hadn't done on my show before, so it was like really, it's like a win-win for everybody because he's getting exposure, I got paid $25, I met someone who's now a resource. Maybe if I need local SEO in the future, I know who to go to. So just the whole model like really works for everybody.
That is so cool. So if I wanted to start, tomorrow and start this business, you've got a course coming out that would teach me that. Can you tell us about your course, when it's coming out, what time, and how much it is?
I'm going to be selling it for $7. Nothing that's going to break the bank here. And I'm going to be launching it on March 31st at 10 a.m. on the Warrior Forum.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's very cool. Let me just mention something. I've been on Fiverr also, and I'm gonna tell you, John's giving a lot of golden nuggets out there. Like for example, you have it's not just $5 you sell. You can actually get $50, $60 out of a customer very easily. One of the reasons is because you can actually add on more gigs, like two for maybe $9 or whatever, and then get bonus. And then what I used to do was really cool, and John does this himself, I bet you, is that after they actually deliver the gig so that you can keep your customer solid with you where he returns all the time, is that I will give him maybe some extra bonuses. For example, it might be a PDF, how to make more money with marketing, or basically, or even to increase traffic. So there's so many great ways. And I know that inside his course, it's pretty much like a done for you. Can you explain what's inside the course, John?
Sure. So mainly it's about a 3,000. I think it's about 2,500 to 3,000 word PDF document that pretty much goes over everything from scratch on how to create the gig, ideas on getting some traction to the gig. I pretty much give you my exact copy for what I did for my gig. I show you examples of the interviews that I've done, so you'll have an idea of like what kinds of questions to ask people. I really kind of go through everything from scratch. I also have 3 videos for people who prefer watching video as opposed to maybe reading a document. A lot of it's similar information, but it's about 20 minutes of video split up into 3 separate videos. And then I also provide, for people, I don't really go into this, some people I buy their WSOs and they go into this long story about themselves and kind of fluff it up. I threw in a bonus Kindle book, which I've been working on for several months. It has not been released yet on Amazon. That's my project for April. But I throw in a 25,000 word bonus ebook on building relationships, which really goes hand in hand with these interviews and doing written interviews with people.
That's so cool. That's a great bonus.
Yep.
Yeah. James, did you want to do a screen share of his product?
I for sure do want to. I'm really excited about showing this because
I want to
Don really put a lot of energy, and I'm going to tell you, it's basically a business in a box. I mean, he's basically gave you his whole solid business, and all you have to do is really just rinse and repeat. I mean, John was telling me not too long ago, am I right, that it only took him about a few hours really to make $200. Am I right, John?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to total up like all the gigs that I've done, I've basically been able to do this with, I could probably say in less than 4 to 5 hours in the whole month, and probably the whole time I've actually been doing it, because really, I could take a couple minutes to come up with the questions for these guys, and then as soon as they send me back the answers, I'll just publish it as a post on my blog. So I've got fresh content, and I'm not really putting that much time into it. The articles are written for me.
Wow,
that's cool. If everybody can click my face or my name so that everybody will see this.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, John, do you see it too?
Yep.
Cool. I mean, I love this course, and I'm going to tell you, it's just not just a PDF. It's also a video course also, where that you can download the PDF, and you can actually read it and take your time. If you have to go back to it, or simple spots where that you maybe say, hey, I want to go over this a little bit more, because when I'm setting up my Fiverr gig, I forgot I have to do this or I have to do that. It's basically very easy to actually sign up for Fiverr and get it going. I mean, as you see, he has a lot of great videos, and he's on there explaining, and they're over-the-shoulder methods that I see. He goes into introduction of Fiverr, setting up Fiverr gig, examples of completed work. I mean, so it's basically a complete course. So I'm going to tell you, I love the course, and it's very easy to understand. And plus, you're going by a gentleman that actually makes real money on Fiverr. Kristie, what do you think?
Yeah, I wanted John to share about the one-time offer, because I think it's another level. So can you tell us about that, John?
Sure. So I guess in a nutshell, I teamed up with a fellow named Vinny Bach a few months ago, probably back in September of last year. We created a course called Simple Novice Profits, which also utilizes Fiverr. And I guess really to sum it up, it's a fully fledged course. It's got over 7 hours of content, tons of PDF guides, and pretty much walks you through everything you need to know about creating an outsourced SEO business. We also utilize Fiverr by you could create a service. Let's say you create a service on the Warrior Forum or even someplace like eBay, and you put up an SEO service. Let's say it's $80 you want to charge for this service. If somebody buys that service, you could go over to Fiverr, and we give you pre-made packages where you could, basically take 5 Fiverr gigs, spend $30, and you could then take the profits home and not do any of the work. Now, obviously, you might think, well, okay, I've made $50 or $60 profit, and sent a few of these emails. But the biggest part in that is Vinny actually does this full time. I do a lot of other projects, so I don't spend a lot of time with this course myself. But he actually makes a few $1,000s a month doing this on the side, because his clients will come back to him with so much work and repeat work every month that I think he has one client that actually brings him in over $1,000 in revenue just from outsourcing work to people on Fiverr.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, John, we really are excited about your course and can't wait for it to come out. And tell us again when it's coming out, what time, and how we can get it.
Sure. It's going to be March 31st at 10 a.m. Monday.
Okay. March 31st, 10 a.m. It's going to start. Is it on a dime sale?
I'm going to just start it right at $7 and leave it that way.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
You know what? I love this course because it's only $7, and you have a chance to make even a few hours of work within maybe a month or so. Even, you know what? It's enough money to actually make a car payment.
Yeah.
Or if you actually take it to the next level, like his buddy Vinny and does this full time and get to a level 1, you can make a few $1,000s a month if you really put your heart and soul in it. So really, I love the strategy that he has. But like I said before, Fiverr is just growing. I know actually of a company that actually invested, I think it was $30 million or so. I mean, you have to go on the internet and actually check it out again. But it was around $30 million that they invested inside the company because they believed in Fiverr so much. So it is a great company that's actually growing. Is it going to be as big as Facebook? I don't know or anything, but Facebook's pretty huge. But I'm going to tell you, Fiverr is growing by leaps and bounds. And this is still a ground floor industry. And I would just, if you're really thinking about an extra income stream, I'm going to tell you, Fiverr is really it. I mean, you can do a lot of different things on Fiverr. For example, you can sell traffic, you can actually sing. I mean, they have a bunch of different things. But you know what? What I would do is I would get John's course, because the reason I like about John's course, especially you get the OTO, is because you can follow exactly what he has, because he has a success system that if you follow, hopefully you'll be able to replicate exactly how well he and his partner is. I mean, did your partner actually help you with the OTO, really? I mean, did you guys work on that together?
Yeah, well, we previously, when we launched it initially in the Warrior Forum a few months ago, we kind of created the OTO. But I mean, more or less as the OTO, we're just offering it at a discounted price. Normally, I think we offer about $27, and for this particular offer, if you buy the Fiverr Untapped product, you can get the Simple Novice Profits product for only $15.
Wow. And so that's basically a lot of the system that your partner uses to make that kind of money every month. Is
exactly,
that right?
Yeah. There's definitely a ton of value in it. I've spent, honestly, I probably have put over, I want to say, at least 200 hours into that course in terms of designing the membership site. It's very high-end, uses WordPress, got a very nice membership plugin, and put a lot of work into it. A lot of little things.
Months. How many months did you put in? I mean, you told me crazy amount of months working on this.
Well, see, the thing initially, I found this was a thing, and I don't want to go into this too much, but basically, this guy launched the course, and his presentation wasn't that great, but the idea, the execution of the idea, I thought was great, and his back end, in terms of like the actual course overview, I just thought it was messy. Like, he had text files everywhere. Everything was just sort of, it wasn't easy to follow. Mm-hmm. And we started a discussion after I saw him on the Mike from Maine show, and we came up with this 50-50 partnership where I just helped him redesign the entire course from scratch, and that's basically what this is. So it's laid out very nicely. There's lots of resources there, and I put a lot of time into it.
Yeah, it shows too, and it also helps. It always helps when two great minds come together. So yeah. I'm sure that helped, John. John, thank you so much for being on our show today. And we look forward to seeing Fiverr Untapped when it launches.
Sure.
But before we go, Kristie always has a great thought of the day, and we don't want her to leave us without that thought.
Okay, Audrey Hepburn, one of my favorite actresses, said, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible." And that's what John Shea showed us today, that you can make some income with Fiverr. It's very possible. He's doing it, and a lot of other people are doing it. And we say again, thanks, John, so much.
Kristie, before we go, are those roses on that table there?
They're tulips.
Tulips. Very nice. I like them. Are they red, or what color are they?
Yeah, they're red and orange and yellow. It's my favorite flower.
I like them. I like them a lot. Oh, you know what? I got a money tree back there, so.
We all need a money tree. Yeah, John, send us a money tree.
Well, you know what, John, I totally appreciate you being on, because I was really looking forward to it. Guys, there's a lot of money to be made in Fiverr. This is not, I mean, there's a reason there's so many people on there. And you know what, the stats that came, there was quite a bit of sellers that were making around $30,000 or more, came from Fiverr, if I remember that. And it's all in their stats. If you really go by Fiverr stats, they'll tell you all about that. And it also will mention how there was a company that invested so many $1 million because Fiverr is so growing so fast. So if you get a chance, really grab John's course, because, like I said before, I like to have how many income streams? 5 income streams. The reason is because let's say that you have a CPA business, and the CPA business closes up, and this business up, and then all of a sudden you have one more income stream. Might be 5. That's maybe collecting maybe 200 or more, you know. And I'm going to tell you, just keep on having extra income streams, because, like I said before, it's like the I think there was a story about a guy that put his finger inside the wall. There was a hole with the water coming out. You know, so that's just how I believe and everything. But I have 5 income streams myself, and that's the best thing that my father ever told me, was to try to get extra income streams. So
he's right. Right.
You can have, and then of course, Kristie, you always have the last word.
Oh, John, you know what? I had heard a lot about Fiverr, and it was refreshing to hear more about your strategy. So I think it's a great course. I think you should pick it up if you have any interest in Fiverr at all. And thanks again for joining us, John. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. 2 thumbs up. Grab it up now.